more than 2.2 million kilograms of Arctic ice melted. That's our estimate of the carbon released from training just one artificial intelligence model, GPT-3. AI feels instant, clean, almost magical. But behind our quiet exchange is a system that never sleeps, fed by enormous amounts of energy, water, and minerals pulled from our planet. The technology, praised as a solution to the climate crisis, may also be silently contributing to it. So, it's worth asking, is AI helping the planet or quietly harming it in ways we don't see? We turn to ChatGPT for even the smallest tasks without realizing the impact our collective conversations are having. One question may not seem like much, just 2 to 3 grams of carbon dioxide, but globally, more than 2.5 billion questions every single day. That's 29,000 questions every second. This adds up to the same carbon impact as 500,000 gasoline cars running every single day. So, how can something as simple as asking a digital question be linked to ice melting thousands of miles away? The answer begins long before your conversation with your favorite AI. Every AI model relies on high-powered hardware, such as massive GPUs. Creating this hardware burns carbon long before it even performs a single calculation. Mining the minerals, forging the metals, manufacturing the processes, shipping them across the world, all that carbon is already baked into AI before it even turns on. And then there's the carbon cost of building the homes for these systems, the data centers. They require enormous amounts of steel, concrete, and cooling infrastructure. In fact, the World Bank estimates that construction alone can account for up to 45% of a data center's total lifetime carbon dioxide emissions in regions with clean electricity grids. All of these emissions, from the hardware to the buildings themselves, are known as embodied carbon. And that's just the beginning. The real climate cost of AI comes after these systems are switched on. Then you hit enter. Unlike a simple Google search, an AI request forces powerful chips to run complex calculations and consume far more electricity. Google's own environmental report shows its greenhouse gas emissions in 2023 were 48% higher than in 2019. As they put it, due to increasing energy demands from the greater intensity of AI computing. That surge in electricity use and the cooling it requires is what we call operational emissions. So, where does all this electricity actually come from? Today, fossil fuels still dominate. Coal and natural gas supply about 56% of the electricity powering data centers. Renewables, mainly wind, solar, and hydropower, account for around 27%. Given that data centers consumed about 1.5% of global electricity in 2024, it's not enormous in relative terms. But it's growing faster than most other loads on the grid. By 2030, electricity demand from data centers is expected to reach 1,000 terawatt hours a year, roughly equal to the entire annual electricity production of Japan. The good news is that renewables are expected to meet nearly half of the additional demand over the next 5 years. Some companies are already responding by changing how they source power. Alphabet, Google's parent company, recently announced it would acquire Intersect for $4.75 billion, bringing renewable energy generation directly under its control. The question is, would this energy transition, or greener AI, actually help? Maybe. Let's analyze. Research suggests that focusing AI on just 3 sectors, power, food, and mobility, could reduce 3.2 to 5.4 gigatons of greenhouse gas emissions in carbon dioxide equivalent. Even at the lower end, that is roughly in the range of the European Union's annual emissions. But whether we see those savings depends on governance. If AI is left entirely to the market itself, it will optimize for speed, scale, and profit, not necessarily for emissions, water use, or grid strain. That's where governments come in, not to slow innovation, but to set guardrails, transparency on energy and water use, standards for reporting emissions, and real requirements to reduce environmental impact over time. The technology already exists. What remains uncertain is whether we are willing to guide it responsibly. Do you think we are? If this question matters to you, if you believe technology should serve the planet, not cost it, subscribe to Enviropreneur.